Welcome back to base camp, WNC. Well, hasn't been too long ago we extended the cistern capability right here by an extra 275 gallons, and I built a completely insulated, I'll show you this in a little bit, pump house to go on it. And this one right here, all the pumps, everything here is on grid. We're going to do this one here completely off grid with a piston pump, and then we're going to have enough solar and an inverter to run a small AC pump that will then push everything on up the hill to the houses. So let me see if I can get this thing halfway slid off this thing, and I'll show you what all I'm doing. I've done this one a little bit different. This is of course the top of the tote. I took the lid off, and this one right here, the water stays that full. But what I've done is I've cut down a 5-gallon bucket with a hole in it, and this one's gonna fit right over top of it, and then I can screw the lid back down on there good and tight. And what this whole thing is for, in the bottom of the pump house there's a hole cut that I'll then be able to set the building down over top of this, hopefully. And what this is going to do is keep any little mice or critters from coming up in here and getting inside the pump house. Even though I know they can't get into the water lines and all, I just hate seeing mouse droppings and bugs and critters everywhere. So this one over here we did about the same thing. This one here I'm going a little bit more. I've got a lid to cover it. And this time, instead of accessing all the water through that top opening, we're going to put bulkhead fittings and go through the tank, so that if we need to get in there and clean or do something, we don't have to pull the pumping all out like we do the other one. So let's see if this whole thing has been engineered right and if it's even going to work. Well, for all of you kind of like me that work by yourself, what I've done, I've got the trailer close enough here I can reach it with the boards, and I've screwed the boards I'm going to push on down to the edge of the trailer so it don't push off. But what I've had to do is put blocks under this end so that when the floor comes over, it doesn't hit that bucket that has to come up inside the pump house. So now, one of these days, I'll get me a tripod and push this thing over, and I'll start lowering it down, see if my plan comes together. Well, it got dark last night. It started to rain, so I didn't get anything filmed. But I was able to slide it over on top of the tote and get it down over the bucket. And I'll take you inside and show you how my access hole and my lid contraption worked out. Well, this one in here is a little bit bigger than the last one. I got some other plans for it. But as I said, right there is the 5-gallon bucket sticking up. It's level with the floor. I'll be able to access it through that 6-inch hole in top of the tote. And I did make a simple board with a piece of foam on the bottom to insulate it, to kind of block it off. But like I said, this time we're going to set the pumps. And one of them's this one right here. I'll go over that in a minute. This is the actual piston pump. But all our holes this time will go down through a double blind pipe. We'll have a hole in the tote and a hole here in the floor so no critters can get in, and it'll slide down in a piece of pipe, kind of like the other tote. I'll take you over and show you that one. But this way, right this time, this will be just an access hole, and we won't have any pipes in it. Let me show you the other one right quick. Well, this is the one with the AC pumps in it, and as you can see, the suction line goes down and goes through the hole in the cap, goes down in the tank. But the problem is, every time you want to get in the tank, I got a screen there to try to collect sediment and everything else. You got to disconnect the whole suction line and move the pump and get everything to it. Like I said, this one here on the other tank, we're going to go through the floor, and if it works so well, I might end up coming back and doing this one too. Well, right quick before I go over the pump, I'll go over this building right quick. I happened to go to my favorite little store called Habitat, and there was a whole trailer load. And what this is they make sunrooms out of them, but they also use them for like insulated refrigerator panels. And it's 2 pieces of aluminum skin with this baked on powder coated finish, but they're insulated, and they all hook together with a tongue and groove mechanism and snap together so they're waterproof. But they had a whole great big trailer load of this stuff for $80. So the floor, the walls, the sides, everything on this thing is made out of this insulated board. And this time I was really lucky because they actually had the metal strips that you actually bolt down to the concrete, and it's kind of like a C-channel that this stuff fits in. It's got a lip. Matter of fact, I even used it to make the door frame. This is actually the part that would go against the concrete, and this is the piece that sticks up, and I used it for the door frame. But this thing's got a R value of 20 couple, and being it's nothing but aluminum, powder coated aluminum skin and styrofoam, it should be critter proof. It's rot proof. Got the roof made out of it. I cut down and used vinyl corner pieces for around the edge of the roof and the edge of the building to kind of dress it up so you wouldn't see no raw edges. But I guess material wise, I got about $10–15 in this whole pump house on this thing, so I'm kind of satisfied with it. Some of the pieces are a little stained, and you can kind of see it comes with this plastic coating, but if it sits in the sun you can't get it all off. But hey, when you only pay 10 bucks for it, you got to take what it is for what it is. Well, this is the piston pump, and I don't have any videos on it because I did this before I started filming things for YouTube. But I actually found this thing, paid $50 for it on Craigslist here in Asheville, North Carolina. Somebody had it cleaned out a barn and sold it, and it is a original ever-ready piston pump. And these things were sold by Sears mail order catalog, the Amazon of its day that just didn't quite make it through the internet world, but they certainly had the ability to. But I've completely rebuilt this thing. In the bottom of this pump here is a brass sleeve. It's got leather collars driven by a brass rod. Just for testing it, this is an old, probably a washing machine or just some motor on it right now. I've actually got a DC motor coming for it. But this thing here will only take like a 1/4 horsepower motor to push the water. It ain't gonna move great volumes, but efficiency wise, this is probably the best most efficient way to move water is a little piston pump. I don't know how much this thing cost when it was brand new. Everybody got rid of them because of course it does pulse it because of the piston drive. You can buy them now. They're close to $3,000 for a little piston pump. But if you ever find one of these things, contact me. I found a guy in Ohio that rebuilds them for the Amish people. And he has a fair number of parts and can tell you where you can get the rest of them. They are still available to some degree. We made a couple things for it. But we're going to be installing this in the next couple of weeks. Like I said, we're going to put this piston pump in. It'll be solar driven. We're going to put a regular centrifugal drive pump in that'll be solar driven with an inverter and a battery system down here. We've of course got to get the batteries and got to get the solar panels up and figure out where we're going to put them and how it's best going to be used. And then we may just make this thing run just strictly off of solar. And that's probably what we'll do at first. When the sun comes up, the switch on top will say the tank's down, the pump will come on, fill up the water tank by just strictly working off the solar power. When it's done, it'll shut off and wait till the next day. We'll be the same thing. We'll have 400 or 500 gallons of water up there, so we won't really have to worry about every time somebody flushes the commode whether or not we need it. But like anything else, this helps you out. If you got any questions, my email's there on the bottom. Contact me. Be more than glad to help you with anything or answer questions. But like it, share it, subscribe, tell your friends about it, and stay tuned. We're going to do this solar project, and then we're going to start a DIY solar school and just start with the very basics and help everybody figure out multimeters. This is a class I was going to teach at Life Skills, and of course it got shut down for the virus vacation. And we're going to go ahead and do this online for everybody, and we're going to be able to take it to where you'll be able to do this and buy it yourself and figure it out how to do it. But like I said before, like, share, subscribe, tell your friends about it, and I'll see you on the next one.